Let me see if the stream is. Oh, I can hear myself. Yeah, and yeah, it's seemed to be running fine. Yeah, and so as far as good news goes, we have IDE support for basic IDE support for cat, and yeah, I mean lots of updates when compared to the last time I streamed. So great, I guess. So now if you are typing in the language, if you are coding in the language, and you make a mistake, or there's it's an error, it displays here. So currently the support is only for VSCode, but other support for other IDE is it's not work in progress, but hopefully it's an upcoming thing. Yeah, and also like as far as streaming goes, I have issues with VS Code. Like I have to run VS Code with hardware acceleration because otherwise when I use it with C++ extension, it crashes for some reason. So yeah, so now if you are coding in the language and you're coding and you make a mistake, it like informs you what the problem is. And also I don't have to update the version of the extension for to have like new errors and new error messages and warnings. This reads directly from the std out or standard output of the compiler, which means I can add like new errors and new warnings to the compiler, and the change will be reflected in the extension. So there is no member named name, and visibility support has been implemented. So now like everything has a visibility associated with it. So right now everything is public, everything inside this type is public. So if I change this, then you get an error, because now title is not accessible here because it's a private. By default everything is private. So this pub not dot the accessor is different, but yeah, the public nature is restricted to the type, parent type. So this and leaving it empty or not providing anything is the same thing. So yeah, you get an error. Also loops and loops have been added to the language. And also like one special thing, loops can be tagged or labeled. You can provide custom labels for loops. And so if you don't have to provide sorry, let me just change this pub file. Yeah, so if you by the way, pub file, it means that anything inside this file can access these members. Pub type means only the things inside this type can access it. Pub folder means anything inside the parent folder can access it. And pub there is something else, pub box and pub lib, or it's similar to like anything inside the module can access it. So yeah, and so back to loops. Loops have custom labels, and you can provide that in the break and continue statements. And if there are nested loops, you have to provide these labels, otherwise you won't be able to use. So for example, so imagine I think the L2 and break L2, this might fail in compiling because like I haven't added like very complicated how should I say, analysis of the IR. So let me see. Oh, compilation is successful. Oh yeah, I did provide, sorry, yeah, I did provide the yeah. So if I don't provide, so this loop is nested, right? So if I don't provide anything, it just means it is compulsory to provide the tag name of the loop or switch in a break sentence if there is a nesting of loops or switches. So yeah, that's basically that. So this L1 that you see here is the tag or label of this loop, and you can use that for like different types of loop. I think there are like four types of loops. So this one is an indexed loop, so you can iterate over like you can loop a certain types. So whatever you provide here is the number of times you want to loop. And this syntax basically means the index, or the index of the loop, or the counter of the loop, how many times it have looped. So if I compile this file, refresh basically means I'm like rebuilding the changed parts of the compiler. So sorry about that. So there is nothing to build. So sorry. Yeah, it is compiled. Oh, I forgot to save this. Yeah, so iteration count. So that's what you see here, iteration count. And so yeah. So you also like code types are a recent feature, by the way, and plain initializer has been implemented. So you can use plain initializers to initialize the code type instance. Yeah, so that's say sentences have been like support for say has been added, and like right now you can't display like integers that have different like non-standard bit widths. So for example, so let var num equals 0 I43 or something, right? And this compiles without any problem. Maybe not var num. And if I let me see, if I comment all of this and say value of num is num, and if I compile this, sorry, nothing is visible. Yeah, so value of num is 0, and it is 0, so let me change it to 10. So now it's 10. Oh wait, it is supported. No way. Okay, I see what's happening. So print, like say in like say uses printf, like in how should I say this, like in the low level, under the hood. Yeah, got. So say uses printf under the hood, and if you change this to, what happens if I change this to, it's still 10. What happens? Let me see. Var. If the value is long enough, then this won't work. So var num and 0 and num equals num minus 1 and I64. Okay, that compile without problems, and let's see. Oh, okay. Wait, what happened? Oh, okay. Yeah. Unsigned, that's the problem. Yeah. Okay, so that's supported, and let me see. Wait, what's the highest possible value of U32? 2 to the power 32, which means almost, not sure. Yeah. What happens if it's 128? 128. And yeah, so custom bit with integers, like support for those are not that great. And like I will be changing the implementation of say soon, and from that point onwards you can also use custom bit with integers in say sentences. Also, there is an issue going on with float. I'm not sure what's happening, but yeah, regardless of the type of the floating point number I provide to LLVM, it's always 128-bit floating point. I don't know what's happening. They're saying I may have memory corruption, but I don't know, understand why, because there are two builds. There is a release build of LLVM that I use and a debug version. The release build is only used if I compile this project with the release in release mode. The debug version is used for testing and all other purposes. And in both versions, it's the same problem. And regardless of the type of the floating point number, it's always 128-bit floating point. So yeah. Also, let me see. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at Twitch just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, just checking OBS now. Okay, everything's fine. So that's that, and support for references has been done. I guess basic support, because I haven't tested it enough. It's not extensively tested, and references follow the same model as C++, that once you initialize it, you can't rebind it, which is the same way of doing it. But I'm not sure if I'm adhering to that principle in all parts of the language. And yeah, I need testing to make sure that references are not rebound after initialization, to make sure that that's the way I'm doing it right now. So yeah, so that's like, as a summary, that's mostly it. Straight like support for errors and warnings in the IDE for VSCode has been complete. So now if you're using VSCode, you can download the CAD programming language extension and use it. It's kind of stupid because right now you don't have access to the compiler. I'm sorry, but as soon as possible, I will make the compiler public. Not the source code, but yeah, the compiler. The source code, the reason I'm not making it public yet is that there are chances for hijacking. Not hacking, but projects can be hijacked if they are small. Other people can just fork it and turn it into something else. So yeah, for now it will be private, the source code. But I mean, you guys can see, if you want to see anything, just ask me in the streams, or send me a message or something. If you are worried about security or something like that, I can show you. But it won't be available as a whole thing, so you can easily clone and fork. Yeah. And yeah, plain initializer support for member functions and variation functions. So that's something I left out. So variations just means that your that member function is making changes in the parent instance, or in the instance of that type, and they have to be called in a special way. So the reason for this is that this way changes in data is explicit in the control flow. So whenever you use this symbol, you know that the value before that is being changed. And if I change this to normal function call, member function call, see, member function next year of code type employee is a variation and hence should be called as a variation. That's basically, yeah. And let me see, display loop. So yeah, so let me just go through the new changes. Support for member functions, plain initializers, yeah, and error support, warning support in the IDE, variation functions, tagged loops, basically means you can provide labels or tags for loops and use that in the break and continue statements. And if it's a nested loop, you have to provide the tag. I changed this. I implemented this so that there is no ambiguity in what loop is being break. I mean, it's kind of obvious that the first encountered loop or switch is the one that will be breaked or broken, but I think it's better if it's explicit. And yeah, so like I think like the last time you saw cat source code, there have been like major changes. I added support for type definitions. So now you can define custom types. So for example, I can say type int equals i64 if I want the consumers of this particular file to be able to use that type, and I can change this to int or I can make maybe like i32 just to be, yeah. So this compiles without problem because I didn't get any errors. Just to make sure, I can also run this. So yeah, it compiled without problems. Also, these are all like newly supported syntax in the parser. So this was the design like even previously, but I didn't actually support it in the parser yet. But now these are all supported. So this is how you access member fields, and it's explicit by design, and there is no need to confuse it with any other argument or anything like that you are like receiving. Also, this is a converter function, by the way. So from some type, and this is the name of the argument. This basically means that you can construct the employee type from just a string or a string slice. Oh, I forgot something else. String slice and C strings are supported. So C string basically means a C style string, something that you see in in the C programming language, and that's null terminated, and you can't have internal nulls. However, str, that's a string slice, and string literal, I guess, and that can have internal nulls, and it's it's also null terminated, by the way. It can have internal nulls, and it also have the length encoded along with the data. So if I go to the LLVM output of this, I can just, okay, let me just, yeah. If I go here, the string type basically resolves to an i8 pointer, a pointer to a 8-bit integer, and the length, the field for the length. So yeah. And I mean, this looks ugly, but it's absolutely like really fast. So I'm glad. I previously had issues with the LLVM. Like I was not able to do any kind of IR generation, but now I can. So nice. Like there are other things that I did, but I don't actually remember everything. So as I go, I might provide updates. So yeah. So this is one other thing that I think the other thing that I did was yeah, I did mention visibility. So if anyone's new here, visibility is something else that's supported right now. So if I don't provide anything, every function inside this is private to this type, and so you will get an error when you try to initialize those fields. Member title of code type employee is not accessible here. So yeah. So pub, there are like different types of pub.file, pub not dot, it's single quote now. There is type, pub folder, and pub, what else? Yeah, lib basically means library, the entire library. It's visible to the entire library. And pub box. Box basically means it's visible to the entire parent module. Like both box and lib means the same thing somewhat, but you know, box is more restrictive. Like it chooses the closest parent. So yeah. All right then. So now if I do like file, that means that all these fields are accessible for the entire file, this entire file 10.cat. So yeah. Is anyone even watching on Twitch? I'm not sure. There's no one in YouTube, by the way, watching. Like, I mean, if Twitch is not that popular, I mean, not, it's definitely not that popular. But if no one's watching Twitch, maybe I shouldn't stream that often. But I mean, in most of the streams that I've done, I have more views on Twitch than YouTube. So you know, I guess Twitch is better. So yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I forgot another thing. Ternary expressions are now supported, and this is basically the syntax. If I greater than or equal to 0, then power this function will be called. Otherwise, it's this value. And yeah, basically that. What else? I think I can move on to doing something else. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Employee's name is, title is, experience is. Okay. Let me just check Twitch and the category. Okay, software and game development. Nice. And what else? Browse. Oh, the category suddenly dropped viewers. When I viewed it maybe like 20 minutes ago, it was 2.9k. Now it's 2k. That's a lot of views gone. Okay. Who's online? Who's streaming? Okay, some familiar faces. I don't watch software and game development a lot on Twitch, but that's the only category I watch. So you know. Let me see. Okay, Pirate is live. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay, it's really warm here. Yeah. I recently moved, by the way. If you have watched previous stream, you know already. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. So many changes, right? Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. By the way, you can have arbitrary bit width integers in cat. Like right now, you can use like any bit width. I mean, this will give error, but yeah, you can use it, you know, regardless. And in the future, this will be changed. So only if you bring those bit widths, can you use it. Basically, I32, not I32, I43. Only if you do this will you be able to. Yeah, will you be able to use it? But I don't think I have the representation for this in the AST. So yeah, So many changes compared to the last time I streamed. So many changes. Okay, what should we do? What should we do? All right. Plain initializer. Yeah. I'm going to decrease the font size because I'm not used to. Yeah. Okay, that compiled without problems. Nice. Let me just check stream health. In my previous stream, like the camera like was frozen like occasionally, very frequently actually. Every time I reset it, it comes back. Okay. All right. For some reason, if I stream on Ubuntu, not Ubuntu, I guess, like even Windows, if I stream via Restream, the stream is very saturated. Wait, unsaturated. Like the colors are like faded for some reason. If I'm streaming via Restream, if I do it via Twitch, it's all normal. I don't know why that is, but yeah. So what else? Should I change the title? If I do that on YouTube, it's going to be different, isn't it? Yeah. It will stop the stream and create a new stream. You don't want that. What? So in core types, support for normal constructors is remaining. This is a converter constructor, by the way. It converts, like it constructs this type by converting it from a different type. Normal constructors basically are, normal constructor that you see in other languages, Dart, C++, whatever. So yeah. So variations are done. Displays done. Sorry, not display. Normal member functions are done. Like I have so many things to do actually. So, Okay, let me just come with this. Oh, if I commit it, then you guys might see my password. So maybe not. So yeah, because of the issue I have with VSCode, like recording VSCode, I can't like record the window. I have to record the entire screen, and I'm currently recording my secondary monitor or my primary monitor. My secondary monitor is the old one that I have above the new one, and it currently has the OBS window. And let me see, what can we do? For some reason, I don't have anything blue in my mind. Oh yeah, constructor. So basically, like constructor, converter, all those things are just copies of member definition. it's like there is almost no difference. Almost. This is kind of hacky way to get the pointer to the instance type, or parent instance, I guess, for member functions. Like I was mostly intending to provide updates in this string, so maybe the string might end like early. Yeah, I'm also feeling sleepy for some reason. Constructor prototype. Oh wait, constructor definition. Okay, member prototype. Constructor prototype. Okay. Oh wait. Oh come on. What am I doing? Well. Okay, so that's the problem when I'm sleepy. I was supposed to copy this and not that. Wait. Yeah, there is absolutely no difference between a constructor and a member function. I mean, a constructor can't have return types, but otherwise it's the same thing. Control find. Okay. Okay, we don't want this. Obviously. Sorry about that. No, this is surprisingly simple. Visibility. Let me see. Arguments. I can move, right? Yeah. By the way, copy semantics and move semantics are an upcoming feature. Like, I have the fields for those to contain copy constructor and move constructor in the code type implementation, but I don't have the semantics, like the entire semantics figured out. So yeah. Visibility, yeah, that's it, right? Yeah. Is static. So these things don't have any validity for constructor prototype. So there are things I have to change. I mean, obviously. Yeah. Wait. Create. Yeah. Constructor. I do remember implementing this. Parent. Yeah, there is no point of making it a variation because it always is argument. All right. Okay. Use variation function name. Wait. Create constructor, ask for a name. Why though? Okay. This is wrong. Yeah. Wait, so they were using self. Maybe. Okay. So create constructor needs a name. Apparently, I don't remember why I did that. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So in this case, it will be, yeah, it will be from dot some sort of number, I guess. Yeah. So the only implicit function, implicit like passing of values, I guess, is when it comes to references, because then you can either pass a value. I mean, it's not a value. Under the hood, it's kind of like a pointer, but yeah, or an actual reference. I guess you can pass a value or a reference, and the value will have an implicit temporary allocation. It's like if you are planning to create a systems language, it's highly sensible to follow most of the semantics that C++ has, because that's the epitome of optimization. You can't get better than that. So you better follow them when it comes to, like, optimization, memory efficiency, and all those things. Yeah. So thanks for the follow in small. So someone is watching. Yeah. And parent and name. So technically I don't need name to create a constructor. Not technically, actually logically. It's better if the constructor is indexed. How many constructor does the parent type have? So yeah. And like in the future, I'm also planning to support calling C++ functions the way dlang does it. Like basically you mangle names. Yes, I'm watching a few minutes. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the follow. And did you get to see the syntax of cat? So this is basically it. It's kind of ugly, but I'm used to it, so it doesn't feel that ugly to me. So yeah, this is the syntax basically. So the let keyword basically is used for type inference. So if you want to infer the type, then you use let. Otherwise, you can just provide I32. Where I32 result. Where basically means that the value or the entity that you're declaring is a variable. If you don't declare it like that, you won't be able to modify it. Left hand of the assignment cannot be assigned to, because it is not a variable value. And recently, I also added support for errors and warnings in the IDE for VSCode. So there is an extension. Yeah. Looks good. Looks a bit like Wasm. Really? I mean, yeah, I haven't had a look at the Wasm in a long time. So maybe that's why. Okay. I will definitely have a look at Wasm. Yeah. But yeah, where I32 result. And member access is basically, so like some things, if you are from a C family, I mean, if you are from a language that belongs to the C family, some things looks really weird like this. So if you want to access a member, you use a single quote instead of a dot. And a dot or period is used as the terminator of the sentence. And a sentence or a statement. Statements are called sentences. So yeah. I guess statements sounds better. It makes more sense, I guess. And loops are taggable. You can tag a loop with a label or a tag, I guess. And when you use continue and break, you have to provide that if the loop is nested. If the loop is not nested, you can just plainly say break. So, this works without problems. And there are no errors. But, I mean, if the... let me see. And if the loop... If the tag is wrong, that also gives an error. So this is also compiles. So imagine I have another loop here. Loop IR or something. So this is another loop, right? And if I just call break, it's an error because it is compulsory to provide the tag name of the loop or switch in a break sentence if there is a nesting of loops or switches. So that what you're breaking, the control flow that you're breaking, is explicit. So yeah. So that's that. The same thing will apply for switches too. Switch will also be able to. I haven't added switches yet, but when I do, it will also have a tag or a label. And I recently added support for plain initializer, and also visibility. So right now, everything here is visible for the whole file. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And if I change this to pub, which basically means public, it also compiles without problems. But if I remove this visibility, now there will be errors because now the title member is not accessible here because it's private to this type. Yeah. So I can just do pub, and now the error goes away. And there is something else called variation functions. So basically there are normal member functions. So this is the same as, by the way, this is same as this, by the way. So if there is no return type, you don't have to provide any return type. You can just write this. If there is a return type like I32, then you have to provide it, right? And yeah. And this is a variation function, by the way. And that basically means that that member function makes changes in the parent instance. So basically, and that instance should be a variable, should have variability. It should be able to change. It shouldn't be a constant, basically. So in this case, emp, that variable is a variable. So you can call variation functions like this. So the reason for this is that you have to call it like this. So the reason for this particular concept is that changes in data is explicit in the control flow. So whenever you spot this, it means that data is being changed. So now the error goes away. Yeah, so those are variation functions. And besides that, let me see. Yeah, type definitions are supported now. So you can now define a type like this. Type int equals I32. So now int is I32. And also when I support macros, I guess, and have like platform specific libraries, the definition of usize will also change, because in one platform usize is something, in another platform it's a different thing, right? So yeah, right now it's the same. Besides that, say is a custom sentence. It basically is equivalent to printf, and it uses printf under the hood, by the way, but you don't have to provide custom formatter. So it's like a convenience thing. In the future there will also be a print function that you can like do custom formatting using a custom formatting string. But right now this automatically creates the formatting string for you. If I inspect what is the target, like do you mean the compilation target or the what is my goal with the language? So I will let you answer that. In the meantime, if you look here, this is the if you mean compilation target, it's LLVM, and that means it can compile to any platform, and almost any platform, right? Because like there might be some janky platforms that LLVM doesn't support. So yeah, if you look at the IR, this is the formatting string for the first encounter of say, I guess. Yeah, as far as the goal of my language goes, it's basically supposed to be a systems language. Right now there is no move and copy semantics, but there will be soon, I guess, hopefully. And there are references, there are raw pointers. That's important because there are some low level tasks I am intending to use this language for. So yeah, and I'm also planning on a different language. Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so I'm also planning in another language that's a bit more high level, that is similar to this language, but it's not a systems language. It's mostly like similar to JavaScript or Python. It's a language that you can use very easily. But I mean, that's a distant project. That's not in progress as of now. But yeah. So this is intended to be like a systems language. Legible systems language is what I'm saying, like the description I like most often give for the language, but in some cases it's not that legible, I guess. For example, variations, there is no explicit keyword, right? And I think that's good because then it can be similar to Java. I mean, Java is a nice language, but it's a bit verbose at times, right? I mean, actually, one of the most verbose projects I have seen so far belongs to Java or Dart. So, they're a bit more verbose. So I don't want keywords for everything. So that's why I have used custom symbols and things like that instead. Also, something I forgot to mention, there are two types of string literals. There is the normal string literal, which has the length of the string embedded within it, and that means that it can have nulls inside, so it is technically UTF-8 compatible. And there is C string. C string basically means it's a null terminated string, and it's the exact same data type that you see in the C programming language. So, and you can easily okay, another interesting feature that I forgot to show was that you can let my C str there is a syntax highlighting error equals this is a string to C string. So this is kind of like a new concept, I guess new syntax, right? This is called conversion. So when you do this, so this compiles without problem. And if you go to the LLVM IR and look at the main function, you can see it has optimized. Let me see, not optimized. What do I mean? My C string. Control find. Okay, yeah, it has. Yeah. So it stores that that first field in a string literal. So if I scroll up, a string literal basically consists of a pointer to an 8-bit integer and a 64-bit integer. The 64-bit integer holds the length of the string. And so there are some advantages to using this. So imagine, so when I provide a string here, instead of using this string as a C string, the length of the data is also provided to the formatting string. So if I go back to 10.ll and scroll up, you can, let me see. Yeah, you can see that this is the formatting you use when you already know the length of the data. And that will be provided when you use the regular string literals, str. When you use C string, that length is missing. It stops, most of the C functions stop when it encounters the null character in a C string. So yeah, that's the advantage of using str. The str data type of string literals are very similar to str in Rust. I think it's almost identical. I don't like Rust a lot, by the way. It's got it's my opinion, by the way. In my opinion, it overpromises, and it does deliver what it promises, but the trade-off might be too much. You either spend too much time to make it perfect, to make it correct, I guess, and the yeah, what you get out of it might not be that worth it after you spend that much effort. I think like programmers should be allowed to make mistakes to some extent. I mean, you obviously have to prevent them from making like serious mistakes, but to some extent they should be allowed to make mistakes. And let me see. So it's like the language is somewhat functional as of now. So there are no serious issues. It didn't used to be like that maybe like 2 weeks ago. So yeah. So I couldn't find an operator or instruction in LLVM that does like power, like calculation of exponents. So this function does exponent calculation for the I32 data type. And by the way, template types like you see in C++ and it will be added to cat. So yeah, template types are work in progress. Like I have the tokens, and it's, I think like I mean, right now there is no community for the language, but in the future people might like be furious about it. But if you want to declare a template type, you can't just use less than, greater than like you see in other languages. Instead you have to start it with a semicolon, not semicolon, colon. Yeah. The reason for this is that because so for example I previously showed you this, right? Let k equals some string to C string, right? So I previously showed you this syntax, right? And this syntax basically means that a type can come here, right? It can be some random type, some arbitrary type, and that could be a template type, which means that I cannot confidently pass an expression if template types use less than and greater than. So instead you have to do this. That way the compiler can just plainly assume that the next greater than symbol after this is supposed to close the template type, is supposed to close that template type specification. So yeah. But yeah, move semantics is upcoming, template types are upcoming, pattern matching is upcoming. I actually and some types, tagged unions, by the way, the ones that you see in Rust. I do like that. That's a nice feature in my opinion. Like tagged unions. Normal unions I might add, but I haven't used it a lot, so I don't see. I guess it's a lack of perspective, right? Maybe I don't see the benefits of a normal unions. I mean, there is an argument for space constraints, right? Because tagged unions is basically one field and an extra field to hold information about the index of the type, right? So there is this extra field that's just a number that holds information about the type that the actual value is, right? And if it's not a tagged union, if it's a normal union you see in C++, that basically means that it doesn't have that extra field, and maybe that saves some space, but it's mostly like 8 bits, or that extra field is mostly like 8-bit integer, some cases 16-bit, I guess. But yeah. And other thing, a boolean will always be, so right now boolean is u1, or 1-bit integer, and 1-bit integers are addressable in LLVM. Not addressable, I guess you can use it validly in LLVM. And like when you compile it down into machine code, there will be padding, so it's not that space efficient as you would think. But here's the thing: if you pack a struct, if you pack that particular type, which is an upcoming feature, then it will be space efficient. Basically means multiple. So if you have like multiple Boolean types here, bool A, bool B, and bool C. If this type is not packed, then all of this will, I think, will need like a 8 bits at least. But if it can be packed like this or something, like I haven't decided the syntax for packing types, but in that case this will allocate 3 bits. That's my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm right about this. And like packing is an old concept used when there were like really low amounts of memory available.